How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you guys hit the like button when you come in. For some reason, my notifications did not go out anywhere in the planet because nobody liked the video during the whole week while I had this thing up. So make sure that you hit the like button upon coming in. Don't worry, as soon as this thing's over with, gonna be able to send this thing to the distribution outlets, so that way we can be able to have people watch, post this actual thing, so that way we can go to this through this actual issue. Because, like I said, at this point, we got to be able to solve problems. That's why we're here. Now, a lot of people are not here to solve problems. That's fine. A lot of people here are here to watch this woman to be talked at endlessly on some bullshit. But for some reason, and I mean some reason, dude just cannot get away from it. What's going on, man? Make sure y'all hit the like button upon coming in. Because it took me a while even to find my own live stream live yet again. Maybe it's me setting it up in StreamYards or something. Well, maybe that's the case. I'm gonna try setting it up the regular way and then using Zoom to see if that has any effect on the notifications. But what's going on, Jazzy? What's going on, Lone Wolf? What's going on, R Jizzle? What's going on, Personator, Taboo Smash, Tab Supreme, and Vanna Black? So we'll give people another half a minute to come up in here. Then we're gonna get started with this topic because a lot of people don't understand that, especially with the person that sent this email and the type of stuff that they're going through. They're not crazy. They're not crazy at all. Oh, look. What happened? All right. We're going to start this off with a quote. All right, man. Being smart is easy. Being stupid is easy. When you're smart enough to know, but too stupid to obtain it, now that's hard. You guys have got to understand that this particular problem is a failure of most men within the environment, but it's actually aided and abetted. What's going on, Doug? What's going on, masculinity? It's mostly the responsibility and the failure of the women as well. Because this type of behavior is aided and abetted mostly by women because it's a female trait to instantly redeem somebody, regardless of any type of punishment that's done here. And it allowed, things to grow within the actual society that didn't need to grow because everybody wanted comfort over order. Like people sold out for comfort over order. What's going on, son? Make sure you hit the chat button coming in. So you guys have got to realize that every time when it's time for somebody to get some type of punishment in society for something that they do wrong, there's normally a group of individuals who want to keep this stuff going all the time. And it's never really the men, it's the women who organize behind the men's back in order for these things to work out the way they currently do work out. Because there's like most people want to just maintain their actual associations and they really don't care about what happens within the environment until it happens to them. Now, once it happens to them, they get how wrong it is, they get how messed up it is, they get that stuff right away, right? That's how most people have started to act within the environment itself. So you have to realize that this person is not just running this play on one person. This person is running this play on multiple people throughout the environment itself. Multiple people are running this game, and it's mostly the men. But like I said, women understand that with order around, they have a lot less freedom to do all the things that they want to do. So they depend on the men to actually massage the actual idea Foxtrot November is having a full way around the actual environment itself. And that's how those things currently just don't work out for everybody. Like I said, order works out for most people. Chaos only serves a very few people at the expense of the entire group itself. Because punishment is always wrong, especially when you punish the person that quote unquote is so fun for everybody to be around. But punishment becomes wrong when it happens to them. Like I used to have friends who would keep these incredibly dangerous individuals around them because they were fun to be around. And they would freely say before they get currently screwed over by some of these personnel that, yeah, I seen all these people. Yeah, I seen all these people go through this, but I never thought he would do that to me or she would do that to me. I'm like, how is that possible when you watch the same individual, the same person, do the same types of things to other personnel, but you thought you were exempt, even though you watched the same thing happen to other people? And you would see the mouse slowly jump off the hamster wheel as they tried to understand why they were in this situation for so long until it finally blew up in their face. I'm like, dude, while they're out screwing over everybody, you're nothing but a midnight snack. You are the current plague carrier and holder of this type of behavior within the environment. Because a lot of people have sold out into thinking that nonsense and BS is actually part of a working society. They have actually sold out on that. That you need this type of nonsense to go on in order to have a functioning society. And then you have people who want all the benefits of society, but they want certain rights to be taken from certain people within the environment itself. You have that type of backwards mentality and logic going on as well. So it's up to you to bear the brunt of all of this abuse, because that's what it is. Let's call it what it is. It is called abuse. What's going on, LOM? So you're to bear the brunt of all of this abuse. So that way everybody can keep not holding one or a group of specific individuals responsible within the environment itself. You're the sacrifice. So everybody is running instant redemption protocol behind your back while in your face trying to act like they give a damn, but they're just too mousy to speak up when certain things happen. Oh, I didn't want to say that in front of that. Oh, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But the moment that they're affected, they feel the same way everybody else feels. But if you ask them what type of work did you put in to make sure that this stuff didn't happen to anybody else, well, that's just not their responsibility. So once you have this behavior wash over the entire culture for a couple of generations, this becomes the norm among these people that you are around. And the only way out of this type of situation is to produce yourself out of the situation. You have to raise your level of productivity to the point to where you are no longer wanting to be around these individuals, that you can survive without the opinion of these individuals, and you can survive without the presence of these individuals or their opinions even mattering to you at all. You have to set up a big ass wall to ensure that you're not carrying this dangerous ass behavior over to the next generation. Because these people, they are right at home around these people that freely know what they're actually doing. They're right at home. They're comfortable where they are. The only person who's not comfortable where they are is you. What's going on, JR? So you have to realize The moment that you start working around and being around other people that don't have this cultural underrun running in the background that you have to worry about, the moment that you don't have to continuously keep watching your back, you can actually operate like a human being around other people. That's how things begin to change for you. Once you start spending time outside of these environments and not being constantly surrounded by this type of behavior, your standards rise. And your level of tolerance to being around such behavior will dramatically drop. Because once you're not dating their women, once you don't give a damn about their opinion, once your productivity is not tied to any of these people's outcomes or their opinions, your life starts to change. You can start living a good life. And you can only be around these people at your leisure whenever it comes to family functions or anything else. You really don't have to be around these people under the thumb of their so called leadership, when the only thing you're doing is exercising silence in the face of constant and consistent levels of abuse. Yeah, what's going on, Guy King? What's going on, Telescope 3? But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Like, I had cousins and uncles like this, right? Like, let's start with the cousins. They're probably in their 50s. They're definitely not 60, but they're definitely in their 50s right now. These people were mainly the older generation of people who ran people out of the community, right? These were the individuals that sold all the drugs in the community, was very happy to really screw up all the Generation X women that they had early access to, by the way, and sometimes even older generations. But they did it all for the actual sake of just not being held responsible within the environment itself. That's why they did it. They did it because they could do it. And you have to understand the type of addiction that you form when you can nearly get away with any type of behavior as long as it's bad towards certain groups of people. You actually think that you have more rights than everybody within the environment because most people treat you that way. You actually think that working class people who work their ass off to get what they want, that somehow they owe you the stuff that they worked for because all these other people's silence are protecting them within the environment. They give you a big ass head, man. It really makes you think that you are above the law, that you're above reproach, and that the moment that you get checked in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you act like your whole world is falling apart. These people are very good at manipulation, which they never put any effort into, because as soon as you raise your voice, the only thing they have to do is slink away and go find another victim. That person very rarely learns their lesson. And God forbid if you put hands on this person, that'd be the first one going to law enforcement in a heartbeat. Why? You have disrupted their freedom within the environment. They don't care about how these things happen to you, but that's the way they go. What's going on, Lord Scalpel? The same people who would rob and steal from you in a heartbeat don't have any problem going to law enforcement when they're a victim of anything. But they actually expect for you to put up with all of their nonsense wholesale. So you have to understand the type of sociopathic nonsense that a person would be on if they stay within this environment for, let's say, 20 years, let's say 30 years. Let's say that they've never been around other people. This is their only life experience. Now you see why these people actually stay within these environments that they get the most out of. because they don't have to grow up. They don't have to show any respect for anyone. And if they want anything, they could just take it from other people. They don't have to learn anything about anything because that's everyone else's job. Their job is just to sit here and just benefit off of everybody else's hard work. What's going on, Red Pill Finance? But that's currently where we're at. And that's currently why things are so screwed up in the environment the way it is. It's because the men haven't taken a stand. The men haven't produced enough to where they want to separate from this actual system. You still have people pushing this poison called the family unit with these broken people within this environment. You still have people pushing that poison. Like the family unit with these people is now the modern day crack cocaine, heroin, pills, ecstasy, whatever. That's the modern day dope being shoved into the veins of these people. Is trying to understand these personnel that if they raise their level of understanding of these type of issues, that somehow they're going to move past these issues. That's not how these issues get fixed. These issues get fixed by you deliberately putting yourself in a different situation where you don't have to worry about these issues. These issues are too far widespread for an individual or their productivity individually to change the entire group. You yourself have to change the paradigm here. There is no such thing as endlessly feeding yourself into a system that doesn't benefit you. Trust me, they're at home. You're not at home. If you have to work this hard to keep your head above water and they're just floating by as if nothing is happening, you're in a place where you don't belong and you're not supposed to be at. You let endless redemption be these people's level of productivity. If that's what they used as a level of productivity before, instant redemption is something that you should let them just keep spinning up on their own. Because you got a lot of older individuals who get their stuff together and they still hang around these personnel, acting like there is no problem whatsoever. Those are the biggest casualties. The people who could clearly separate but don't, those are the biggest cowards. The biggest cowards. Now, women, I do expect them to be cowardly because they don't have many tools at their disposal to fight with. And they're not really dependent upon to actually lay down order and law within an environment. That's not a woman's job. That's supposed to be a job that's for men. But when you're around so many Foxtrot Novembers, Bravo Alpha Novembers, and Foxtrot Novembers, you still have this type of problem going on. Because there's kind of a leveling system to this. What's going on, Cool Man? Like, there's a leveling system to this. Now, we're talking about the men. First, you have the Foxtrot November. The Foxtrot November is a person who argues from a woman's point of view, don't like any type of order or decency within the actual environment itself, and somehow want to just show out their inner bitch everywhere, begging to be checked by somebody because they have this constantly who gonna check me boo bullshit running inside their head. Which is pretty dangerous for individuals on an individual basis. But this type of poison being widespread across the whole entire culture is such a dangerous thing. Like most of these dudes don't realize that they're just mama's boys. They're not really have progressed anything more than just a play carrier of mama's message. And then you have the next level up from this type of dude The next level up from this type of dude is this very enterprising individual right here. So now, gaining very much information of how much men don't like order, now you have the Bravo Alpha November. This is the individual who most times they are married, but in most cases they're not. But they definitely do have a child within this actual environment. Now, these individuals pride themselves on, well, they tried to make it work with somebody within the community or the environment. And the fact that you haven't found happiness within the environment itself means that something is wrong with you. Not the environment itself, not the way people treat each other, not the way justice is dispensed, not the way the associations are set up, not any of those things. They always have this constant state of trying to point the finger back at the individual who don't want to submit to the actual environment itself. That's the problem. Everybody has to surrender and bow down to the things that happen within the environment. Nobody can go anywhere else to find any other type of experience that's better because you were never meant to be better at anything else. The only thing that you was meant to do, hold on a second, sorry about that. Because you were never meant to actually have any other better type of interactions other than what was there. That's the problem. Because you bringing word that there is things better somewhere else draws the attention away from their leadership within the environment itself. And that's something that you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to let people know that there are better things going on somewhere else. You were never supposed to let people know that things are going better somewhere else, that you're happy somewhere else, and all those things. They they don't want you doing that. So you have the bitch nigga, the bitch ass nigga, and now you have the fuck nigga. The full on graduated level of nonsense, all incarnate into one body. This person is the ultimate community sentinel. This is the person that pushes the women are coming back to the table. This is the person that pushes the winter is coming. This is the person that's pushing or thinking that talking about abortion is somehow going to help them. This is the person that don't stay caught up in what the laws are happening everywhere. Like this is literally the individual who talks about the community. They bring up that gynocracy so much they don't understand that their lack of focus on themselves help the actual gynocracy that they talk about. The fact that they won't separate and formulate their own power is the actual thing that empowers the actual thing that they claim that they're for. There ain't no way you care about women this much that you focus on them that much. You just want to sexually control these women. That's not going to happen. And I would say most of these men online are trying to do nothing but feed you back into these women at a more disheveled state. These are the men that believe in the instant redemption. Every time you look around, there's always another woman's content being shared within this space, one who's full of shit, one that doesn't provide anything to anyone, and one that's just here talking about relationship shit, rather than providing homegirls for men to actually deal with. We know which one men want, and we know which one men actually benefit from. But we know what they get at the end of the day. If these people can clearly jump online and clearly tell you anything and just be on camera and be a woman and just talk to you and provide nothing, and you tune in and you donate all of your hard-earned time and money to them, like how can they not be winning overall in society? It is your duty to make sure that these things do not happen in another generation. It's your duty to make sure that they don't happen in another generation, because they're at the top of the instant redemption shit too. What do you think the women coming back to the table is about? You know, if that's not about instant redemption, I'm not sure what is at this point. And there's no way you can show me on a graph, bar graph, or line graph where these things are going to end up having positive contributions to society. I say this: let them pander, but you better move on to newer equipment that knows how to work, that has the training. There is no honor in going out there dealing with broken equipment. There's no honor in that. There's a lot of cowardice in that, but there's no honor in that. There's no honor in being with people specifically for the use of sex, and that's it. There ain't no honor in that either. Especially when they have a system that far outpaces your actions. At this point, now they can just point you out and just say, I want that dude's productivity to take care of my child. Any person selling this dating coach nonsense or this lifestyle bullshit beyond this point now is a beyond reproach. I've already said from the first beginning that they were always frauds. And showing off access to women when access to women is a basic thing in a uncultured society, it just really tempting men to do some shit that they shouldn't be doing in an environment that they're never going to be trained enough to actually deal with the consequences of. Most people selling this bullshit are facing the actual consequences of not having this stuff figured out and acting like experts while doing so. But for some reason, but for some reason, this whole instant redemption thing has gone way too far. And I'm not even saying it even starts at the women. You now have the Tower of Maggle, you know, the broken surrogate fathers of America have come together to actually destroy progress for men at all. I will explain what the Tower of Maggle is. The Tower of Maggle is the hustle culture, pimp culture. You have people who exploit loopholes in things. What's going on, Lil Rock? What's going on, Lone Wolf? You have the people who sell the actual victory parade around pimp culture and stupid shit. Yeah, the swag culture, just all that type of stupid shit. And the failed surrogate fathers of America have come back to actually have a platform online when they can't have a platform in person. That's what the digital divide was ultimately about, leaving these people behind. But since we didn't shut the doors on the manosphere fast enough for the fuck nigga brigade to just run in here and start setting shit on fire, this is what you got. It's not hard to get your attention away from these people. You just got to want to do it. The concept is a fraud itself. It's the concept that you can turn somebody who don't want to deal with you at all into a person who can deal with you, no matter how honest you are about your intentions. I think he's honest about his intentions. I don't think he could be honest with trying to socialize his success upon the other people. Even though I do think he has the best book in the manosphere with the beta male revolution. I don't think this stuff happening right now is the beta male revolution that he wrote about, but it's a type of beta male revolution nonetheless. Shout out to him. I hope him and his son is doing very well. But it's the concept. I mean, he could be as legitimate as he wants to, but it's so many people who've glommed onto that concept, it really destroyed it. But at this point, it's the instant redemption shit that's going on everywhere. It's the instant redemption. It's about not paying any type of cost for the things that you've done in the past. I'm like, dude, you even got street dudes who sold music, destroying the environment, trying to warn the youth about the dangers of gang violence. You got that instant redemption bullshit going on too. You got people who made music, made millions of dollars selling abject foolishness to people. Now the kids that were born from the music of that era are now trying to sell these kids solutions. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. However, it is your individual responsibility to make sure that you're not caught up in such nonsense. It is your responsibility as a person to want to leave all this stuff behind. It's your responsibility. No one else's. Like me, when I had my chance, I spent my chance on myself. I didn't spend my chance trying to fix nobody's community. I didn't spend my chance trying to fix nobody's household. I was trying to fix me. And you know what happened after I fixed me? I realized that, guess what? I don't have time to fix anyone else. I have all the time in the world to enjoy my life. That's the type of things that are afforded to you when you're not out dishing out instant redemption to people. Because when you instantly redeem people who serve no time, they've learned no lesson. They have learned no lesson. The only thing that they learned is they didn't get enough people caught up into this nonsense, especially if they knew that they was going to get away with it at the end of the day. If they knew they was going to get away with it at the end of the day, the person would have did more. We just got to do a better job as individuals, so that way we can become the group. They became the group of over procreating, so that way the environment reflects them. I say you leave the environment the way it is and you go create for self. Because they created for self. They didn't have a problem creating for self. They didn't have a problem ruining the community. They didn't have a problem trying to shame men. They didn't have a problem running out the most productive people outside the community itself. Now it looks how it looks. I get the women talking about how community minded they are because it's the most expression of their power that they can get off the market by any means necessary. I get them and they're for the community. But you have to understand that this is what's happening when women are talking about community, especially without any financial backing or involvement. Because remember, nobody's asking Gail King or Oprah to go spend their money in the fucking community, nor any of their time. But when it comes to a man, you're supposed to go from household to household to spend all your money trying to correct their sister's mistakes. So, Let's go to this term here. And it's nothing to be mad at. You just have to know and just have an awareness of what's going on so that way you don't fall into these trappings yourself. So that way you're not having this socialized guilt for things not working out because you didn't have the power to stop it. You're not supposed to have the power to stop it. The older generation was supposed to create an actual society for you to actually live in. I'm doing my part by letting you know how these things work. Nobody would did this stuff for me. I had to learn all this stuff on my own. And you can tell by how many people come into YouTube trying to sell bullshit to an audience rather than just telling them the truth so that way we can have a better outcome collectively where these things are actually going to go. That's where those things are at. You let their track record be the right to know whether they are be to redeemed or not. You don't let nobody come up to you, putting you on the spot, shit testing you into redeeming them. Because that's normally how these things work. They will just know that they can't come in your face. So they go around somebody that you like and they come around with that person come around. Because they know that you care so much about individual friendship rather than group safety. This is how this stuff goes on for such a long ass time. They got a lot of people compromised within the group. A lot of them. But what you have to understand is you could bring all this stuff to a close. You're never going to see it completely gone 100%. You're never going to do that. But what you can individually do is to make sure that it don't happen to you. You can have a community without fuckery and bullshit. You can. Most other culture people have already done this. We used to already have to operate at a high degree when we had to live together 120 years ago. Actually, 150. Actually, 120 to 150 years ago. We actually learned this stuff. Now the same lesson is being met out by individuals who are coming to this country and getting straight to the money. You see, when you ain't concentrated on the money, you have a ton to talk about women and other shit that don't matter. That's when you have a ton of time to be completely focused on women. It's when you're not completely focused on money and getting your shit together and actually separating from a bad system. I personally think it is very cowardly to not separate from a bad system. They always try to socialize people into thinking that SYSBM or travel bros are just simply going overseas for sex. No one ever makes the point of contention that these people are staying within the community exclusively for sex. Because they definitely are not procreating individuals that they're going to turn into hard workers for the environment, for the society at all. They only want to procreate just enough individuals to keep the actual nonsense going within the environment itself. And that their level of masculinity is exclusively judged on how little or how much experience that they have with promiscuous women. Because they're definitely not talking about conservative women who got their shit together, who their fathers involved with their life, who has vetted them to be with the women. It's always some other shit. And these are the people who got the word community in their mouths. These are the people who want to be instantly redeemed. These are the people who want to fill spots that ain't supposed to be filled with them just to be doing it. Because no matter what it is, they have to color every single thing within the environment to make it reflect who they are. The only thing is, they can't produce enough for these people that they put here. And that is not your fault. Making sure some racial divide survive is not your responsibility. That is a household by household basis. Yes, you do not let people market anomalistic circumstances to you like it's normal. If they're marketing you an anomaly, they better be able to repeat it on a one-to-one basis. There better be a group of people, and it better not be some 5%, 1 to 5% nonsense that they're trying to socialize on the other people. I see you have a growing number of those people actually here too. These so-called happily married people who can't describe or discuss their marriage on the air, but they so happily married though. That type of stupid shit. That's what I'm saying. It is vitally important that you get your stuff together. As a man, you're not going to be able to leave. You're not going to be able to go anywhere without having your stuff together. Financially, then you got to have your shit together mentally. You got to mentally block out having this experience being associated with your continued well-being. You sacrificed enough of your humanity allowing these people to live this long around you. You're correct. And not even long-term access. We're talking about temporary access. At some point, you got to call the game, man. Yo, what's going on, Blaze? At some point, man, you got to call the game. You don't let somebody call you in to actually relief pitch a game that's 73 to nothing. There ain't enough pitching in the world that's going to make the batting team bat 73 runs in a couple of innings. You got to have enough foresight to be like, hey, man, look, these people ain't got no training. Look at the way they acting. I can't deal with this crop and group of people. I got to deal with people who's specially trained and who's invested in the actual outcome like I am. Pitching ain't got shit to do with batting. What's the use of pitching a no hitter the next 2 innings if the defense is just going to let these dudes run up another 20 runs in the next subsequent innings? At some point, you got to just walk out of there, man. At some point, you got to walk out of there. Another mistake that people make, then if you hit them, I've never seen an umpire get hit with a ball, man. I've never seen it. I've never seen a pitch even go anywhere near the umpire. That's something I want to see. But that's currently where we at, man. That's currently where we at. And there's nothing wrong with you as a human being that you see things as they are. Something becomes wrong with you as a human being where you see things as something that they're clearly not. It's one thing to have your own mental delusion on your own. It's another thing that your mental delusion have to wash over the entire group to protect the group of people who never really cared about order at all. Well, I mean, that's because a lot of these people think that once they have access to women, that their life is going to just fall into order. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the beginning of your problems. If you haven't solved all these other problems that you should have solved, you ain't just going to turn around and start solving those problems because you had access to women. I just don't think that's the case. Yeah, I agree. But it is a timeshare of sorts. It is a timeshare. It's a temporary timeshare. It's kind of like renting a hotel room between like 11 and 3 when you actually want to rent the hotel room for the whole day or night. And you get charged maximum price for those couple of hours, which is nonsense. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Like once you start hanging around other groups of people, you'll see that this stuff don't go on at all. You'll see that uncultured, unaccomplished men are not trying to make a life out of trying to talk to women. They would never allow a group of men to try to make it look like sexual access to women is the only thing that's important in life. Dude, they would never do nothing like that. Especially in Indian culture, like I'm talking about Indians from India. Nobody cares if you own three 7-Elevens. If your ass ain't got a doctorate, you just ain't shit in life. Doesn't matter how much money you make at that shit. That's the way their culture is. I mean, but the dating coaches also are inconspicuously silent and inconspicuously absent when it came to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. They were absent when it came to Dr. Dre and his wife. They're absent when it comes to those things. But they're not absent when it comes to responding to some type of nonsense that some easily forgettable counterpart says. You're in the best position to have the best life, man. You ain't got to redeem nobody but yourself. As a person who was born way behind the 8 ball in the Mississippi Delta, let me tell you, they didn't give me shit. Not there, not anywhere. Everything I had to work for. Even in certain circumstances that I put myself into, I still had to work and find out how shit works and make connections and do all types of stuff. Strong Surgeon Web. They always say that, man. They always say that, and they don't have any specific advice on what they do to get a different result. That's what it is. They was even calling like Will Smith a beta and shit. I'm like, all right, man. Oh, okay. All right, man. Yeah, but that's kind of where we're at, man. Everybody's on this instant redemption bullshit, man. Everybody's on it. But you have to understand that you have to take this collective failure that you see here and turn this shit into something else. Not for their sake, but do it for your sake. When you go traveling and you actually meet a lot of these men who are actually also traveling, dude, it's a way different conversation, man. The magos are going to definitely look like travel magos. And the people who's actually over there for the right reasons, you're going to be able to chill with, you're going to be able to sit down with, you're going to be able to have a relationship with. It is our individual responsibility to make sure that this stuff doesn't go on for another generation. I'm just here for y'all to have the best outcome. What it is it's actually a head fake. Ollie the Great. It's a head fake that gives them the right to concentrate on the wrong type of women, so that way the right type of women come around. In fact, now that we're here, let me show you what this is. This is indeed what they're bastardizing. The norm of reciprocity. You need to understand what regular reciprocity is, and then you need to understand the logical fallacy of the norm of reciprocity. Because as I read this, you're going to see where this community minded thinking bullshit is actually bullshit for what it is. Hold on a second. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, let's read it. The logical fallacy of the norm of reciprocity occurs when some positive action is done merely to influence either the person who benefits from the action or some group of people that will be highly visible. So, when these people are covering the simple fact that the women are coming back to the table, so when people are talking about sharing women's content who don't give a fuck about men, period, within the environment, that's what they're doing. They're purposely bastardizing the law of reciprocity for BS reasons. Go on, Ryle. That's what's happening here. So when people who don't have any homegirls to actually show you onto, when they're actually are talking about this community minded shit, they're trying to act like they're community minded so that way you can go create and do community minded actions. Because Lord knows they're not going to be doing anything that's community minded if any effort is involved. But they are going to sell you wolf tickets that they are a part of this stuff. Oh, yeah. I would say most of the educated people are lost. If, if you went and got education, and the only thing you did with your education is to focus on selling victimhood, and you really ain't really getting people to the education like that, the education to get the actual skills, the only thing you're educated in and everybody else's contributions to society, and you try to make it your own contributions because you covered it, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Yeah, I have an MBA. Yes, I was going to go for a PhD. I'm glad that I went through a quarter way through that program because if I had went through that actual PhD program all the way to the end, I would have been 75% or 90% in, and I would have known up front or actually on the back end the type of people I would have been surrounded by for the rest of my life. In that actual residency, we didn't get jack shit done. That's when I found out the PhD program is not about solving problems. It is about having conversations about problems. It was about having conversations about problems and adding additional arguments to the conversation, not really solving the problem completely and in total. They were never there to solve those problems in total. It doesn't matter which one of these people are. It could be David Duke. It can be any other of these pro-blacks. They haven't solved their issue on their side. They've never done it because it's not their job to solve these issues. Their job is to pack this place full of people who are lost, who's never going to find out this issue. What's going on, Tiffany Sunshine Brown? Oh my God, dude. These are not red pill men. Red pill men didn't tune in to Kevin Samuels, dude. Red pill men didn't do that shit. Blue pill men do that shit. Blue pill men needed an excuse to go back into this burning building. Why do you think most of the PhDs came here to argue with female feminists? Okay, if the women don't want to have a family with you, a guy, why are you even talking to her at all for any reason? So you got dudes around here calling themselves a masculinist, don't understand that it is the same thing as a feminist, So if a feminist is not focused on a family and a masculinist is not focused on productivity, what's going on here? Do you not see the game that's being played right in front of your face? They're literally telling you that they're not going to get you to the money. What's going on, KD? Dude, listen, man. Once you gave the people the information, you see what they was going to do with it. What's going on, Paul? Listen, man, most of these people wanted red pill information so they could subvert the actual sexual marketplace with red pill information. They didn't want to separate. Like, that's why you get information so you can make better decisions. You don't get red pill information to make the worst decisions that you could possibly make after knowing better. Of course there were. The reason why they were, Rael, is because these black PhDs were supposed to be the sparring partners of these black feminists in school. Both of those two people were supposed. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that uh, quote, Eeyore. Yes, that's why most PhDs fall into the pro-black kind of category because they don't have any type of contributions themselves to society. Like there are men like Dr. Carr, the indisputable guy. They're doing great work. They have organizations outside this. They talk about things that actually need to be focused on. But like most of these PhDs are just people who are just full of shit. They don't have a political side taken. They think that they're just going to operate from the middle. They're just going to surf on people's ignorance within the environment. It's just total bullshit. But they're okay with that though, for some reason. Yeah, but Lotus, you have to understand that these were interchangeable concepts. The online alpha male was the high value male. Well, actually, the online alpha male was meant to be just a bedbuck who just wanted to go around, just sleeping with these women once he had quote unquote red pill information. Once he put on his alpha male cologne and his alpha male shoes and his alpha male, what I'm saying, child support uniform, that he was automatically going to get the women and that he was going to face no consequences for it. The actual high value man was the guy who was going to get his stuff together and deal with the wrong type of women after he got his stuff together. Like there was a scam about both of those things. But there was no path that you can directly take because they couldn't tell you what type of classes to go after. They couldn't tell you what schools to go to. You would just boom, out the box, high value man, making money. That's how it worked. You was gonna get the women. They was gonna behave properly because you was just a high value man at that point. That's the instantaneous bullshit that was. But don't worry, a lot of these so-called red pill men fell for the shit. Why? Dude, they was just here for sexual access and they just wanted to talk to women. That's not a problem. But just be honest about why you came here. Correct. Because Yori, positive outcomes was not going to help those people out. Clearly, it wasn't. They needed the smokescreen of business people being here in order to sell their bullshit to people overall within the environment itself. That's why most men have to sell this BS notion that there isn't any problems within the environment itself. They have to sell that because they have to justify being in a broken environment. They have to actually justify being in a broken environment. They have to justify that. They have to justify staying when there's clearly no actual track record, there's no data, there's no statistics saying that this stuff is going to be able to work out on a one-to-one basis. That's how we handled it in my family too. You had to change your last name and you had to leave town. That's what happened. You had to change your name and you had to leave town, and you wasn't allowed back in to the good graces of my grandfather unless it was a funeral or some shit. That's it. After the funeral's over, after the repast at the house, you have to roll out. Correct. Yeah, he went through a lot. Went through a lot trying to help people that didn't need to be helped, rather than focus on the people that you can actually work with. And when their numbers clearly outnumber yours, there's really nothing you can do about it because they don't have a problem procreating with everybody in existence. They have no interest in even raising this. Yeah, so what I'm saying is at this point, the only thing they can do is prey on your insecurities. So that way you can go correct their problems for them. I'm just telling you that you don't need to do any of this stuff, period. The only thing you have to do is work on yourself. I don't know about Black Ram being blue pill. I don't know about that. I disagree with that. But hey, I mean, you spend your time where you want to spend your time, man. You spend your time where you want to spend your time. But you have to understand that you're ultimately going to be held responsible for these outcomes. You can't be the next person out here begging for reparations because you done fucked your whole life up. And now you have to depend on this Hail Mary pass of everybody else getting reparations so your ass can be covered. Fuck that. That ain't gonna happen, man. That ain't gonna happen. And even if that is the case, we don't need you to be the face of people asking for shit that your ass definitely ain't worth. You have to understand, man, that most of this experience was about separating the actual yeah, he didn't care. Dude, he told me clearly that he knew he had failed because it wasn't even 5 minutes after this dude was dead. My uncle was over his house, stole all his money, stole all his guns, got the will, got the house, all types of fuck shit happened. The moment he was off the planet, everybody showed their whole ass at that funeral, all that shit. Turns out him and my grandmother was the only reason why these people was keeping the lid on the shit that they was gonna do clearly after they died. After my grandmother died, most of these people started slinking back into the city, and after he died, the people came to the city and they stayed. They finally was in a place that they didn't have to do clearly didn't do that have to do much and survive. Yeah, but it's a realistic story. And I don't feel sorry that this shit happened. I just know that my outcome was going to be different and better than those people. You can have whatever you want within reason. As long as you're not instantly redeeming the wrong people, you can have whatever you want. But see, they don't want you to know that. Hey, look, Look, as soon as my mother died, all these people ditched that family shit. They all ditched it. They ditched it quick as shit, man. They couldn't wait to not be a part of the family and shit. They couldn't wait for it, man. They couldn't wait to not be part of this family shit. They couldn't wait. It wasn't no different for my aunts and shit. After my grandfather had died, it was no different after my mother died. Like, dude, I rarely even hear from or even talk to my brothers and shit since that shit. Yeah, I got a book coming out, but it's not going to address that. But I can address that though. Hey, I'm telling you, I am telling you. I mean, like, I didn't know how much hatred like my dad had toward my uncle until after my grandmother had died. I thought these dudes really fuck with each other like that. That night after repast at my fucking grandfather's house, my grandfather was in the fucking hospital and shit. After that funeral, damn, I really seen how these people really went at it, man. Yeah, man. They reverted back to their baseline programming the moment they was out of here. The moment they was out of here, they reverted back to their baseline programming. They didn't feel bad about it either. Nope. They didn't feel bad about it at all. They made it their entire mission to do it their way by screwing everybody over and that they wasn't gonna get checked by anybody. And they was depending on the entire environment to make sure that they didn't get away with not screwing people over. Because without the support beams there, the system just collapses on itself. And without the support beams there, and these people weren't individual leaders within their own house, that's how them kids turned out that way. It wasn't the upbringing, it was the environment and the choice of whether or not they did what they wanted to or not. That's what it was. So with that said, I'm just over an hour. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Y'all want more content, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/man tomorrow. And I want to thank you guys for coming through tonight on this Sunday night. And you guys have a really nice one. Peace.